Hello everybody, MVL here along with Matt Jones, and we're going to do a red deck video for you today. This is the current red deck. I've been, doing a couple of dailies, gunslinging and modo. I think it's pretty sweet. I'm going to talk a little bit about this deck. First of all, we have a slightly odd 21 lands. The reason for this is, I cap out at 3 Hell Riders, which is, if I was playing 4, I would consider playing 22 lands. A main problem you can have with a red deck is flooding out. Even though we do have these 4 drops, I don't think it's unreasonable to play 21 lands. I think that's fine. I've never had a problem. The only problem is if I draw multiple Hell Riders, and that's really bad, because I won't be drawing my lands. That has been a problem. But, one of the best things about the red deck, one of the things I think this deck has over the red-green deck, the Gruul aggro deck, is that you only have mountains to worry about. You don't have to play Temple Gardens, which just kind of screw up your mana base. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You practically never mulligan because of land troubles, because you only have mountains, which is really sweet. You know you're going to be hitting your 1-drops on 1, your 2-drops, etc. Your mana curve is going to be really smooth. On our 1-drops, we have not the best 1-drops in the game, I will be completely honest. But these are the guys we have. We have Stormcoat Noble. This guy's pretty sweet. Not being able to be blocked by humans is pretty relevant nowadays, especially when people have a lot of humans. The Reanimator decks play humans, the Naya decks obviously play humans, the Aristocrats plays a lot of humans. This guy can often get through. And then we have, the slightly embarrassing Rakdos Cackler. But we have to play 1-drops, this is, the best guy we got, so we can't really complain.
Well, he's a 2/2 for 1 mana, effectively.
Yeah.
He's not the worst 2-drop he's not the worst 1-drop I've ever seen. So.
I mean, I love that he's like a little devil with a chain. That's sweet.
Coming soon to a local store near you, F&M promos for Rakdos Cackler.
Yep, this is true. It's going to be a promo. And then we have 2-drops. Now, I've aligned our 2-drops in different piles, because Ash Zealot doesn't work with the Burning Tree plan, but Ash Zealot does work with the 5-Fist Striker plan. So if you play your 5-Fist Striker on 2, and that is your 2-drop, so you haven't Burning Treed into it, you've just played your 5-Fist Striker, you can play your Ash Zealot next turn, and then you've got Haste Attacker, and this will activate the Battalion ability, which is often quite relevant. I've seen a lot of people playing this card, I'm not going to say incorrectly, but a lot of the time, if people have a 5-Fist Striker and an Ash Zealot in hand, and their opponent has no creature, they will play the Ash Zealot, not reacting to a possible board state that could occur. This won't be a problem if you have a Lightning Mauler, but it will be a problem if you don't. So that's something to keep in mind. Burning Tree can get us into all of these guys, plus it could get us into a 1-drop, or it could get us into a Madcap Skills, or Searing Spear, or Pillar of Flame. It's really sweet in this deck, and we can take full advantage of it. I think 5-Fist Striker is a really sweet card. The combination of this card and Madcap Skills has had me not lose a game to Aristocrats so far. Them not being able to block has been really important in my matches against them. Lightning Mauler, I'm not outstanded by this guy, but he's a card. He's pretty good. He can give our Boros Reckoner haste. He's okay. I can't complain. He's pretty good. I bought him out a lot on the draw because he's pretty bad. But yeah,
every deck needs
every deck needs something. You can get into some pretty good haste damage from Burning Tree. I prefer a 3/3 for 2 mana, but you can't have it all.
That's true. You're not playing mono green and M14 standard yet.
Yeah, basically. We have Ash Zealot, which I think is pretty sweet. A lot of people aren't playing this card right now, but being as we're not splashing green or anything, it is a pretty solid 2-drop. It's got First Strike and Haste. Plus, the little tagged on ability is sometimes relevant when you're playing against Reanimator, and they do have graveyard spells, they do play Faithless Looting.
Not just that, but blue or red with their Snapcasters.
Yeah, Lingering Souls is pretty bad with this round. You got Boros Reckoner, that's the best 3-drop we can have. I can't speak enough praises about this guy. He just makes combat really bad for your opponent, so he's sweet. And then Hell Rider, as I mentioned earlier. Hell Rider is particularly good in this deck as long as we can curve out into him. If we get stuck with a load of them, he's pretty bad. That's why I'm only playing 3, which is it might seem weird, but I think it is correct.
Well, you want to see 1 in a game, but very rarely do you want to see more than 1.
Often you don't need him. If you get a Burning Tree draw, you don't need a Rider.
You
is
can do
fine.
enough damage
Yeah,
before you even get to 4 mana.
like I've had an opponent turn 2 scoop because of a Burning Tree draw, so like it's fine. And then we have our spells. We have Pillar of Flame. There's 2 more in the board because like Stag Tusk or Voice of Resurgence is a real problem for our deck if we don't get our 5 Strike online or our Madcap Skills online. We definitely need this card. It also kills their mana dudes. If you think your opponent is struggling on mana, this is a very good card. Searing Spirit as well is, I mean, this deals with a fair few things. The problem is like I would very much like to have Flame Slash. But yeah, but
like 4 damage for 1 mana.
like Loxodon Smiter is a huge problem for this deck, and that's why we have things like Madcap Skills and 5 Striker. But so we have to make do with this. Like it can dome your opponent, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, it's just something we have to make do with.
There's
like
your 3/3
it's
for
okay.
2.
Yeah, like that's why we're in playing 3 of it. It's not amazing. Like I would even consider cutting it if there was something better to put in. And then we have this slightly awkward card. Like a lot of people misrepresent this card. Like I think in the metagame right now, it is a good card. And that is because Aristocrats is pretty big, Naira is pretty big, and Control is on the downturn. Previously, this card would most of the time cause you to get 2 for 1, which is really bad. At the moment, it's okay, especially as we can Burning Tree into it. Like, I don't like this card, but I will play it because it can win you games. It will go from being the best card in your deck to being the worst card in your deck, depending on your matchup.
I'd love anyone to play Madcap Skills against the sort of decks that I play.
Yeah. We will probably be seeing this being on our hand and no creatures, and this looking terribly embarrassing. But, you know, what can you do? So, onto the sideboard now. We have 2 Electricity. This is pretty sweet against decks like Aristocrats. It's also good at getting mana dudes. It's a pretty all-round good card. I mean, like, the mana cost is extremely reasonable for what it does. It's also really good against Naya Blitz. So it's pretty sweet. Like, I run 2 of them. And then we have this little guy. You shouldn't really mistake this as a main deck card.
Nor is he truly a 1-drop.
Nor is he a 1-drop. He's a spell that looks like a 1-drop. What this guy will do is if you sandbag him against a token deck, you can easily blow them out with 1 sweet attack. Like, their tokens can't block, or even against another deck, your guys will all have First Strike and Trample, which is extremely awesome, especially if you pump their power up with like Volcanic Strengths or Madcap Skills.
The last thing you want to be doing is playing this guy without Battalion.
Yeah, he's pretty bad. Like, a Raging Goblin just doesn't cut it right now, especially when people are getting 3/3s for 2. It's pretty bad. 2 more Pillar of Flame, just because we need them against aggressive decks. Mizzium Mortars are in against Restoration Angels and Loxodon Smiters. Those cards are very troublesome for us. They make us, like, turn off the computer and cry for a bit. But that's why we have these. 4 Skull Cracks, because, like, we hate Sphinx's Revelation. We don't care about the cards too much if we're swinging for, like, near lethal next turn, but we do need them not to gain life. And this is very good. It also is very good against the current Maze's End deck, which is popping up, because it kills fogs, which is quite relevant. That's why I'm playing 4 of them, because that deck's very popular in Magic Online. And then we have 3 Volcanic Strength, which come in against the Naya matchup, and, like, I wouldn't really side it in against Jund, but, like, we do have these, like, embarrassing Madcap Skills, and, like, not much else to bring in against Jund. So, yeah, it's a sweet card. Like, when it works, it works. Like, also against other red decks, if you play, like, Stormkirk Noble and he gets 1 damage in and you Volcanic Strength him, unless they've bordered to counterboard you, like by putting in Mizzium Mortars, which they're very unlikely to do, they've got no way of getting rid of a full force. So that's the red deck. Hopefully we'll be winning some battles.